For as long as any of us can remember, what made a house valuable was pretty simple, right? It was all about things you could see. The suburb, the street appeal, how close it was to good schools. But that's changing. Right now, there's this invisible force at play that's completely rewriting the rules of the Australian property market.
And it all comes down to this powerful new idea, climate location. Think of it like this. A home's vulnerability to things like floods is becoming just as critical as its postcode. And this isn't some far-off theory. It's already having a very real and very expensive impact on homeowners across the country.
So how expensive are we talking? Well, get ready for this number. $42.2 billion. That is the staggering amount of value that has already been wiped off Australian property values purely because of flood risk. And let me be clear, this isn't a forecast for the future. This has already happened. Okay, so let's unpack that. Australia's $42 billion problem. It's a massive, almost unimaginable figure. But what does it actually mean for an average homeowner? For you and me? Let's break it down. Well, for starters, this is not a niche issue affecting a few unlucky people. We're talking about 1 in every 6 Australian homes. That's over 2 million properties that are in areas considered to be at risk of flooding. This is a huge slice of the market. But here's the thing, that risk isn't spread out evenly. Not at all. It's massively concentrated on the East Coast. A huge 40% of those at-risk homes are in Queensland. Another 30% are in New South Wales. So together, they are shouldering the vast majority of this problem. Okay, so let's bring that huge national number right down to the street level. As of April 2025, if you take a typical home that's in a flood risk zone, it's worth, on average, $75,500 less than a similar home that's not at risk. That is a direct hit to a family's net worth. And it gets worse. It's not just a one-off discount. This is about your home's ability to grow in value over time. Since the year 2000, homes free from flood risk have grown in value 22 percentage points faster than those with risk. That's a massive, widening gap in wealth for families over the last 2 decades. To really see the human side of these numbers, we need to zoom right in. Let's go to one specific place, Lismore in New South Wales. It's a town that has, tragically, become the epicenter for this entire conversation. Now, Lismore has always known floods, but what's happened recently is on a whole other level. Their levee was breached in 2017. Then came February 2022. A catastrophic, record-shattering 14.4-meter flood just swamped the city. And it didn't stop there. Just a month later, the levee failed again. And then there was more flooding in 2025. It's just been one devastating hit after another. And the financial impact? It's just brutal. Look at this. Before that monster flood in 2022, a house with flood risk was already worth about 17% less than a safe one. But after the disaster, by April 2025, that gap had more than doubled to a staggering 38%. The flood didn't just cause damage, it fundamentally and permanently repriced risk in that town. And it goes way beyond just the final sale price. Buyers are, understandably, spooked. Flood risk homes in Lismore now sit on the market for much, much longer. Sellers are being forced to slash their prices just to get a deal done. This isn't a temporary dip, it's a permanent, structural shift in the market's DNA. Okay, so that story is pretty bleak. But, and this is a really big but, it doesn't have to be that way. Let's pivot. We're going to travel just down the river from Lismore to a town called Grafton, because Grafton tells a completely different story. It's a story of resilience. It's really a tale of 2 towns. In Lismore, the levees failed, and property values just collapsed. In Grafton, the levees held firm, and the result? Their property market stayed strong. In fact, there's no real price gap between at-risk and safe homes there. Same river system, same threats, but 2 totally different futures. So what's Grafton's secret? It's simple, but it's not easy. It's decades of proactive and consistent investment in their flood defenses. They've been upgrading and maintaining their levees since the 1960s. That foresight has literally built a shield of confidence around their entire housing market. And if you're wondering if that investment paid off, the economics are crystal clear. For every single dollar spent on Grafton's levees, the community has saved more than $2 in avoided damages. So you see, prevention isn't an expense, it's an investment with an incredible return. All right, let's zoom back out and tie this all together. We've seen the massive national problem, and we've seen a powerful local solution. So, what does this all mean for you? Whether you're a homeowner, a buyer, or thinking of selling, why does this matter?
Well, the path forward is actually pretty clear. It really comes down to three key steps. First, we need transparency. Buyers deserve to know the real risks upfront in a way that's easy to understand. Second, we have to invest in a smart, targeted way, just like Grafton did. And third, we've got to help local communities build their own resiliency from the ground up.
Because here's the most critical takeaway from all of this. This is about so much more than just floods. It's about the future of wealth in Australia. A new kind of divide is opening up in our society. A structural divide where your ability to build wealth through your home is now directly tied to your climate resilience. And that really brings us to the final crucial question. It's one that goes beyond market trends and gets right to the heart of our financial security and the future of our communities. So ask yourself this: is your home prepared for a changing climate?